Hello and welcome to BlueTube, where we talk all things blue. And before I get into this match review of the Chelsea versus Porto game, a very disappointing match indeed, let me just tell you, firstly, this video is probably going to be around 10 minutes long, maybe even shorter than that, because I'm actually recording this at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I have to go to school afterwards because I just have no time afterwards, and I wanted to get this video out for you guys because really it's a big game for us, and I think it's important to analyze every game to see our progress and how we're doing. Secondly, my red chair is gone. Today I have to stick with this, and I actually quite like it. So anyway, you don't care about that. You care about the game. And because I don't have a lot of time today, I'm just gonna try to keep it condensed and just focus on a few things rather than try to talk about the entire team as a whole. Number one, Pedro. When I was watching the game, I was so annoyed at Pedro because I talked about this. No, I didn't talk about this, but I talked about another aspect of Pedro's play in the Newcastle game. I said whenever Pedro got the ball, he does this thing when he dribbled, when he squirmed around like this. To be fair, he didn't do that today, but he was just very weak. And I don't know why it is, guys, because when he was playing against Newcastle and against every other Premier League team that he played against, I thought, and I always said, maybe it's the physicality of the league, he's not used to it yet, but we're playing the Champions League, and he's played with Barcelona in the Champions League for who knows how many years. He should be used to the physicality of the Champions League, and today he was not. Whenever he got the ball, he lost the ball. Whenever he just couldn't do anything, and it just annoyed me, and I was surprised that Mourinho didn't take him off earlier. He did come off in the 70-something minute eventually, but it annoyed me. And Mourinho, I have some things to talk about him as well. But Pedro, yeah, he's just very disappointing. I think since apart from his West Brom game and his 10-20 minutes spell against Walsall, he didn't play any good games at all so far. And I know, he's still a great player. Let's not forget that he's won so many titles, countless titles. He's in Barcelona, in Spain, and we know he's a great player. We know what he can do because we've seen it in the past, and it's just not happening for him right now. And I just don't know what it is. He can't dribble, he can't pass, and what annoys me the most is whenever he got the ball. I was talking to myself while I was watching the game, and I just knew that he was gonna lose the ball whenever he got the ball. And sure enough, he did. Whenever he got the ball, 2 seconds later, the opposition has the ball. And that happened over and over again. And that annoyed me so much. Because that meant we never got, basically, if you guys didn't watch the game, Porto, in my opinion, were definitely, without a doubt, the better team. And Mourinho, in the post-match press conference, came out, he said, I'm happy with the team's performance, I'm happy with the team's reaction. I'm not happy at all. Mourinho, what are you on about? And actually, I just checked the match statistics just now. And it says Chelsea at 57% possession. Well, it sure didn't feel like it when I was watching the game. It felt like it was all about Porto. It felt like, I don't know, Porto had the initiative, they had all the shots. In fact, they had 22 shots, 6 on target. Chelsea had 12 shots and 3 on target, I think. And it's just, who cares about possession? We need to get shots. We need to play. And it's just frustrating. And the fact that players like Pedro, who you would expect to be really good at things like passing. In fact, he came from Barcelona, who's renowned for their passing. He can't keep the ball for 2 seconds. He can't pass the ball. He can't dribble the ball. He can't do anything. And I think we have to drop him for the next game. I really would drop him. If he starts against Southampton, I'm going to be a very sad man. I really am. What I want to see against Southampton is no messing around. Hazard, Oscar, Willian. That three is a three that served us well last season. That three is a three that served us well this season when we played them. But Mourinho just doesn't like to play those three together for whatever reason. Mourinho, wake up. Today was a sign. Pedro is not a great player. At least for now, he's not on great form. He's not playing well. These three are. Actually, maybe Oscar and Hazard, that's questionable. But certainly a lot better than Pedro. And if you guys don't know, Mourinho made a big statement today. He dropped Hazard, he dropped John Terry, he dropped Oscar, he dropped a bunch of players. He dropped Matic, he dropped a bunch of players. Players like Oscar and Falcao didn't even travel to Portugal. I don't know why, because I think maybe not Falcao, but Oscar was definitely doing quite well in my opinion. But yeah, so he did make a big statement. Of course, Hazard did come on in the 70 something minute, and when he did come on, the team looked a lot stronger with him, and it was good to see him on. And I think Chelsea are a better team with him in the starting 11. But I think the fact that he was dropped was not because he's playing too poorly or anything. I think Mourinho he talked about this in the pre-match press conference, talking about how Chelsea have 25 champions in our squad, but only have a few serial champions, players who win it year in, year out. And players like Hazard, like Oscar, like the 20 other players in our squad, they're not used to winning things in and out, and they don't have that. I don't know what just happened. Let me just. They don't have that winning mentality instilled in them, and that's showing right now because our psychology of the players is just terrible. Our attitude, just everything about them, the motivation, it's just not there. And we look like we're back to where we were last time. We look like we're back to Chelsea versus Swansea. We look like we're back to Chelsea versus City. We look like we're back to the first few weeks of the season when we were in a crisis. And we had that good 1 week spell where we beat Maccabi, where we beat Arsenal, where we beat Walsall, and I was happy for that. In fact, I said this could be a turning point in our seasons. But for whatever reason, and I still can't understand this, guys, after all that good form, we suddenly struggled to beat Newcastle, the current worst team in the Premier League. And now, Porto, you know what? To be fair, this is the hardest game of our Champions League group. And by the way, I know we're third right now, Dynamo Kiev and Porto taking our first and second, but I'm still not worried. I firmly believe that Chelsea will make it out of this group, and we should make it out of this group because we have the easiest group, without a doubt, in the Champions League this season. And Porto away, as I said, definitely the hardest game of our Champions League group. Dynamo Kiev, Maccabi, we should be able to beat them, and Porto at home, we should be able to put up a real fight. And in fact, we really should be beating them because we're the champions of England, and the Premier League and the Portuguese League is a very, very different quality, and we should be favorites. But right now, I don't think we're favorites to win anything, to be honest. So there's that. And another player, just before I leave, I want to talk about is Ivanovic, and this player has to be dropped. This guy has to be dropped. And I said in the last few games, I said he's playing decently, but I'm not 100% convinced yet. I've been saying that, and maybe I thought with time I'll grow on him. With time, maybe he'll try to get that level of what's the word, consistency that he used to have last season. Well, he doesn't. He just doesn't. If you've watched that game today, who was that left mid? I just want to check the team. Oh my god. That left mid from Porto. He was an incredible player. His skills were unmatched. Sorry guys, I just need to check something. Where's my... What is this? Yes, as you can see, I am in a rush. So he just completely ran circles around Ivanovic. In fact, the first goal was purely because Ivanovic was a terrible defender. He had no pace, he had no agility. He couldn't, and I want to find his name for you right now. Where is he? Brahimi. Yes, Brahimi. Brahimi completely demolished Ivanovic, and he's a skilly player. And whenever we play against a skilly player who's got agility, flair, Ivanovic struggles, and it's as simple as that. And in fact, it surprised me from Mourinho. He should have known his former team better. He should have known they had a player like Brahimi. They should have known. And looking at this, imagine playing against Real Madrid, against Ronaldo, or against Barcelona, against Neymar, or against Bayern Munich, against Ribery or whatever. He's gonna get absolutely mauled. So it is time that we put Azpilicueta to the right and we put Baba Rahman to the left. And I think this could be a lot better for so many reasons. Firstly, Azpilicueta is a much better defender than Ivanovic. He's much faster, he gets much tighter, he's much good at tackling, his timing is much greater, his positioning sense is a lot better than Ivanovic. And the thing is, if we have Azpilicueta on the right, he can get more involved in the attack because he's naturally right-footed. And if you put Baba Rahman on the left, he's naturally left-footed, so he can whip in more crosses. He can get more involved with the play, which is what we saw against teams like Maccabi when he did play. And I was really impressed by him, and I'm shocked that Mourinho hasn't given him a chance since. Or maybe he has, I can't remember. I don't think he has though. And Baba Rahman, on the left, Azpilicueta on the right, would be a much, much stronger partnership than any partnership that involves Ivanovic. It really, really would. Ivanovic, it's time for him to get dropped. It's time for him to just take 2 or 3 games off, and just for us as Chelsea fans to see what our team could be if we don't have him in our defense, if we don't have that liability. Yes, I said it, a liability in our defense. And another part of the defense I want to talk about, because our defense was truly horrendous. You know, last season, there were some games where we played poorly, because that happens in every season. But what got us through was our good defending. And in fact, there were some games where, in fact, just like the Newcastle game, and just like today's game, the first half, appalling. Second half, much better. It was a similar story today. And last season, that happened as well. I remember multiple occasions where the first half were terrible, and the second half we'd come out and win the game. But the difference was, in that first half, even though we're playing terrible, our defense would be solid. Our defense would be our foundation. And I know I'm running out of time. Our defense was our foundation, and I believed as I was watching the games that we're gonna get a 0-0, go into halftime. Mourinho's gonna have a stern talking to them, and we can come out second half, have a good chance of winning the game. But the difference is, right now, the Chelsea team are not good defensively, and we're conceding when we're playing poorly. Against Newcastle, we went to halftime 1-0 down. Against Porto, to be fair, Willian did get a free kick in the 57th minute or so, in injury time of the first half, and he scored a beautiful free kick. It was 1-1. The stage was set for us to win it, but I don't even know, guys. I don't know. But we need to stop conceding. And as I said, first goal, Ivanovic, completely his fault, in my opinion. You know, maybe our center backs could have been better positioned to head out the rebound, but really Ivanovic should not be letting Brahimi. And it wasn't just that incident. If you watch the game, there are about 5 to 10 times when Brahimi just literally walked around Ivanovic and whipped in a dangerous, dangerous cross. And also, speaking of crosses, I want to talk about some set pieces. The second goal was a corner kick. I don't even know how he scored that, but our defense was so disorganized, so just bad for whatever reason. And I think what's showing through right now is the lack of John Terry. And I know John Terry is not that pacey. I know he's not going to fit the game that we want to play. We want to be playing a high line, high pressure to keep our team forward, which makes us vulnerable to counterattacks, which means that we need to have pacey center backs and pacey defenders. However, the crucial thing is, right now, we're not conceding too many goals from counterattacks, to be fair. The goals we're conceding are from stupid free kicks. Or stupid corner kicks. Like, for example, against Newcastle, second goal line album. Today, second goal, I can't remember who scored it. Was it Andrew? I don't know. Let me just check. Second goal, Maicon. What am I on about? Andre scored the first goal. But second goal, Maicon. Headers. He somehow gets the ball. And the lack of defensive structure, the lack of order, the lack of just, I don't know, defensive, that glue is lacking. And that's something that JT Brown, and that's something that JT is renowned for being, because he is the captain, the leader, the legend, because he knows how these things work. He's been in the game for over a decade, or maybe over 2 decades if you count his youth stages. And, you know, we're lacking that. And to be honest, this is a very, very tough one for me, because do I want to bring him back and then kind of sit back a bit more, or do I want to play Cahill, press the high line, but be a little bit more vulnerable to these set pieces? I think as of now, because we were conceding so many on set pieces of recent times, I think it's time for JT to come back in the starting 11 and to see, what we could be if we had JT there. And the thing is, I think the big problem before was we played Ivanovic and John Terry, which meant that we had 2 very, very slow players in our back 4. And I think if we put Azpilicueta and Baba Rahman in, and Zuma or Cahill alongside JT, he's a slow player, but every other player is fast. So they can kind of make up for him. Azpilicueta, he's a lot faster than Ivanovic. So if he's playing on the right, he can maybe make up for John Terry or whatever. He can, and Baba Rahman, if John Terry is playing on the left side, which he likes to do, Baba Rahman can make up for him. And, I don't think pace could be that big of an issue if Ivanovic doesn't play. But guys, I have to go to school, so that kind of ends the video right here. Obviously, I'm incredibly disappointed, but as I said, stay hopeful. We can still make it past the group stage. We should make it past the group stage. For me, the biggest concern right now is the Premier League, and of course, our next Premier League game is against Southampton this Saturday. Hopefully, we get a win, because we haven't won in the last 2 games. In fact, we've drawn 1 and we've lost 1 against Porto yesterday. Very, very disappointing. Let's get back to the form we were in when we're playing against Maccabi, playing against Arsenal, playing against Walsall. And, if we lose another game, our title challenge could become very, very, very difficult. So let's hope that doesn't happen. I'll catch you guys on probably Sunday, the day after the game, just so I have some time to think about it, and I'll come out with a match review of the Southampton game. But until then, stay blue.